back to the live discussion. As always, I am here with my amazing, tremendous co-host, Hank Hunt. How are you doing today, Hank?
Are you sure you're talking about me?
It might be that guy in that picture behind you, over your right shoulder.
Oh, you like that? Hang on, you like that? You like that picture?
That's nice.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the centerpieces of the household. But I'm fine. I'm This is a bad time of year for me and my asthma, but I've learned to cope over all of these years, and I can't let it control me. I try to control it as best I can with the help of some amazing physicians.
Amen to that, brother.
You know.
Amen to
So,
that.
but
Um,
what about you, sir? How was
uh,
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was great. My mother,
Okay,
my mother flew in, and it
praise
was
the Lord.
great.
Okay,
She left yesterday, so it was really good. I mean, I had a good time. Really
okay,
good
sir.
time. Yeah. So, and obviously, as you know, for that stint from like Wednesday or Thursday, yeah, Wednesday, up
Hmm.
until basically today, for the most part,
Hmm.
I, threw the phone away for the most part.
Well, you
So,
know, but on several occasions we've talked about the importance of family,
man,
but we're so focused on the job or the next new deal
hmm
that we sacrifice the love, kindness, the affection, the attention of those that we say are most close to us.
yeah, that's deep.
You know,
That's deep.
and I admire you. I really do admire you for all of the stuff that we're trying to get done. You have put family first. And for people who are listening out there, who are looking for that next big thing, who are looking to get over the hurdle, to get ahead, or whatever vernacular you want to use, you need to ask yourself, what price is your family or loved ones paying for your
Ooh,
success?
mm, that's deep. Yeah, that's a. Mm, mm,
I know I know it's deep, and I have a mentor down in Tampa, Florida, and that's what he asked me one day.
mm.
And I said, well, they understand that I'm doing blah 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 blah. He said, Hank, did you really listen to what I just asked you? And I say that only because oftentimes we want to appear that we got everything under control. We want to appear that we know it all, and Bitcoin will keep going up. Well, we can talk about Bitcoin at another time. I just want someone who talked about Bitcoin, and we're not going to get into Bitcoin today. That's going to be a topic, but I want you to consider the volatility of Bitcoin. About a month ago, some guy was on Saturday Night Live, and he made a comment about Dogecoin. I might not be pronouncing it correctly, and it nearly went through the floor.
Right.
So I would just say that when someone of substantial wealth is able to influence a market, I would ask you to just step back and take a pause. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just asking, can you afford to lose that kind of money in a volatile market? And we'll
Interesting.
talk about that later. Maybe Leland, we'll talk about Bitcoin volatility in the very near future. Okay.
Okay. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I believe cryptocurrency is the future. I just think that we have to be
Uh,
uh, cautious as far as whether or not you put all your eggs in one basket. That's all.
and then the question is, okay, like everybody wants a pool. The question is, whose Bitcoin pool are you gonna be swimming in?
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Now there
Mm-hmm.
are there are three things that we want to talk about real quick.
All right,
Um,
sir.
so um, these are actually topics that caught Hank's eye, and rightfully so because This took place. Well, this was published actually that of Thanksgiving. So the Dow tumbled 900 points, right?
Mhm.
And what's pretty interesting about that is that for the Dow to tumble the day before quote unquote Black Friday, supposedly, when there's a lot of surge, I thought that was pretty interesting. What was also interesting to me is at the mention of a specific variant of COVID, the markets reacted crazy. Okay,
Impulsively.
impulsively, absolutely. And I think
Hmm.
that's something that we should all be aware of. I mean, so let's see. Carter made a question here. Carter, since you're listening in the comments, do you think that there will be another variant of COVID? Do you think that there will be another shutdown? Do you think there'll be another vaccine, serum, et cetera, et cetera? And Hank, what do you think as well?
I think until the world has sufficient vaccine, there's the possibility of variants. And with each variant that is now trying to maneuver around the vaccines that we've got, scientists in the labs will have to continue to modify whatever whatever fix they think is necessary. But the challenge to me is not whether or not the scientists will find a cure. It's whether or not people are smart enough
Mm,
to follow science.
mm. So there's something interesting that I want to talk about. Talking about people following science,
Mhm.
COVID, right? Um, we brought up Bitcoin a little bit. So both Bitcoin and the stock market supposedly plummet, right? Bitcoin was
Mhm.
down, or cryptocurrency as a whole was down 20%.
Correct. Cryptos. Correct.
Yeah, yeah. So up until now, we haven't really seen that much of a correlation between the stock market and cryptocurrencies. What do you think this is saying in reference to the correlation between the two now?
I've been thinking. You and I have talked on the fringes a couple of times about Bitcoin and the fact that certain countries, like China, is basically outlawed any Bitcoin but the Chinese coin, whatever the heck it is it's called.
Yeah.
The United States is looking to tax Bitcoin and maybe looking at creating its own currency only because of fluctuations in some other stuff. So if no, it doesn't, because cryptos have so much attention,
Mhm.
and it's gaining a significant, I won't say it's gaining market share of investments. You're looking at maybe $1 trillion in cryptos versus about 20 plus trillion in the traditional stock market. I think there will be people that are in heavy into the stock market will find ways to keep their program, for lack of a better term, at the forefront of American consciousness.
Absolutely.
Okay, and they are constantly monitoring Bitcoin and investing in Bitcoin. And again, because Bitcoin or cryptos are so volatile, those individuals can make or break a crypto. So that's why, I used to think, Leland, when I joined with you, I was thinking that there were probably 10 or 15, maybe 20, 25 cryptos out there. Are you laughing at my
I'm laughing.
naivete?
I'm laughing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah, because I hadn't really played that. But people who are listening, go out and take a look at how many cryptos you can get. A crypto for 5 cents.
1 cent,
But you can also get a crypto for $67,000 or $50,000.
right?
Okay, um, and so again, it's what when I was in college, many moons ago, and I was in my um, finance and banking class,
Hmm.
the professor said about the stock market then, he said, if you're going to invest in the stock market, make certain that that's money you can afford to lose. And I think that's sort of the way it is with cryptos. And I know people will argue at me and say, well, hey, I'm making money, this, that, and the other. Um,
The only money that's actually made is upon the taking it out, though. We can say, and that's something that I think people are kind of getting confused.
mhm,
And I look at it almost like so at where I'm sitting right now, there is a picture of Dr. Martin Luther King, and
mhm,
it almost seems like he's looking at me, right? But I remember something that he said. He said that he said his quote was, "I feel as though urging to integrate was me rushing people in to a burning house." Right? I'm paraphrasing,
Ooh, wow, that's
but he said that. So when I think of cryptocurrency in today's market, once
mhm,
again, if you want to buy crypto, that's fine. That's cool. Nothing wrong with it. I just want to caution people that if the government is banning crypto, if
okay.
China, which has one of the largest economies, is banning crypto,
Mhm,
metaphorically, you are running into a burning building because you know for a fact
mhm,
that you should not be using that crypto in other areas, right?
okay.
So you just have to be you have to be willing to invest, but also be willing to know what's there. Like know that if I go to a specific country and I'm looking to use this quote unquote currency, I'm not going to be
Mhm.
able to do that. I could be breaking the law.
Well, and then I would also say that if you're going to be a savvy investor, do some research on investor classes, asset classes, and then take a look at which of those is riskiest. Okay.
Absolutely.
And then because again, I want you to be informed. And I say that only because the greater the volatility, potentially the greater the ability to make money hand over fist.
Absolutely.
But the greater the volatility also gives you the ability to lose money hand over fist. So just again, just beware. And I think it was Buffett who was talking. I printed out something about some of his guidance and something, you know,
Uh-oh.
and just well again because
Be fearful.
people people look at Buffett, I think, around the world as
The Oracle of Omaha.
well, and the voice of reason. Okay, there are other smart people out there, but but again, but Buffett he has some principles. He calls them the can you where's my camera? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Warren
Okay,
Buffett, 13 Principles, right? For
yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway investors.
So Leland, as we're talking, and we know that people are listening to us, I'm hoping that they realize that we're not blowing smoke, that we're doing our research to make certain that that they're getting their time's worth.
Mm,
And if spending time with us listening live or subsequent to, if they see that we're making sense, then I say come join us and let us help you to navigate this financial minefield that each of us faces every day.
mm.
Now, does that mean that we know everything? No. But what I've learned is that if you wanna go somewhere, you can go alone. But if you want to go far, go with somebody.
Absolutely.
And
And
the people. Mhm, go ahead, sir.
no, I would say, and I just want to say in reference to one of the Buffett's quotes, right?
Hmm.
One that sticks out to me is to be fearful when others are greedy,
Oh yes.
but to be greedy when others are fearful.
One that I like about it is, and that's what we do. He says direct investment is best. That's something that you can put your hands on. So we help people to buy businesses or to buy real estate. That's something you can put your hands on, you can manage, and again, at the end of the day, it's yours. So if you owned 10,000 shares of Google, and Google went belly up tomorrow, and say Google is going for 30, say 3,000 a share, 2,000 a share, and you got 10,000 shares, and Google goes belly up tomorrow. If you cash in, what do you cash in at 2,000 a share?
No, sir.
You probably will get zero, or you'll have to wait forever to see whether they are in bankruptcy, coming out of bankruptcy, they fold totally. So you've got a piece of paper, you've got you've got paper wealth. But if you've got a business or real estate that you own, you got something that just doesn't dissipate. It's not a puff of air. So,
And
and
Hank,
again,
I want
uh-huh.
to say something too. I want to say
Yes, sir.
something too. God for and let's play devil's advocate of worst case scenarios, right?
Hmm.
I can hear someone saying in their mind, but you know what? Someone else's business could go under, and you know what? You're right.
Absolutely.
Let's say that you invest and you own actual equity in a small business, maybe local to your neighborhood or your market, whatever else. You
Hmm.
own that business. Great. Let's say that business goes belly up. Guess what? If it does, in fact, go belly up, you know what you get as the investor? A huge tax write off. You took a
Yep,
loss.
that's right.
If your stock in, let's say, Google or Tesla goes belly up and it hits zero, bankrupt, right?
Hmm.
You get nothing. You're not safe. You're not protected. And one of the things that I want people to be aware of is because so many people are having to work more because of inflation,
Hmm.
they're looking for they're looking for opportunities to invest. And what's happening? They're being presented a shiny object, which
Mm,
is basically the stock market or a
mm,
form of the stock market. They're putting the
mm,
money there because they're not really sure what other real assets, or
hmm.
I think what they said, even Fox and CNBC said that if you want to hedge inflation, you have to invest in what?
Real estate.
Real
Yeah, real
assets.
assets. Right. Now,
They called it real assets. So that's why we're
man,
here.
I've got mixed emotions about all of the emotionalism that's going on with the fact that the inflation rate last month or last quarter was 6%. And I think we talked about that 6% is 6 cents on the dollar. Now, I realize that other stuff is going up. And that's why the government is taking a look at these guys and make certain that they're not doing some price gouging.
Yeah.
But there are other factors that are impacting the rate of inflation and the economy as a whole. And we were talking about the stock market, it's 900 points last week.
Yeah.
Well, again, because we live in a global economy, we are constantly acting and reacting to what's happening uh, on either ocean, on the other side of either ocean, and to the north and to the south of us, but more so to Europe and Asia as compared to North or South America. Okay, and I just want people to understand that the market just it didn't do a 180-degree turn. It did a 2% loss
Yeah.
in paper value. Okay. And
In
again,
hours.
what one of Buffett's rules is, if you're going to invest in the stock market, you need to invest for the long haul. So for a person like me that's over the age of 55, okay, I know that for anybody, the lights can go out in a flash. But if we look at statistics, the life expectancy for me will be somewhere, as a black man, somewhere 75 to 80, maybe 74 to 80. Okay. So if you were looking at investing in the stock market for 30 or 40 years, that's a non-starter for me.
Mhm.
Okay.
I want to say something too, just for everyone that's kind of figuring out like, well, what's the big deal? Let's say you do own 10,000 shares of Google. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's also say that Google chooses not to give dividends.
Mm.
All right.
Ow.
Out of that money that is available, how much of that 10,000 shares can you
Mm.
use to pay your mortgage, to pay your electricity bill?
Zero.
Zero. Zero.
Zero.
Zero.
Okay.
So if it's, I think one of the things that we want to make sure that people understand is I think Bitcoin is great for appreciation or forced
Mm-hmm.
appreciation. I think it's a great tool for forced appreciation.
Can you leverage against it?
You can stag it. They allow you to do something called stagging,
I
where
mean, I mean, if I wanted to go, I go to the bank,
no,
and I want to be. I'm sorry.
no, sir, you cannot.
No. If I have a piece of property or business, can I leverage against it?
Absolutely.
Now, Leland, you're the smart guy. Help people understand what I just asked and what your answer was. What I said, asked about leveraging.
What we need to understand, everyone, is leverage is what allows you to either catapult forward or, in many cases, utilize resources or time. Leverage is something that banks and lenders typically want to see that they can leverage or have access to something that is real
Mm-hmm.
that you can put your hand on. And Carter
Mm-hmm.
and in the comments for Facebook, Carter's correct. You can stag Bitcoin. It's not going to be something that's backed by like the federal FDIC, so it's not going to be insured. But you could leverage it, and stagging coins would be like if in a group setting, I want you to borrow my Bitcoin or so for a little bit, then I can earn interest on it. But I still have to deal with different governances to make sure this is going to be okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is something that does happen. It can happen. You can definitely earn income from it, but it's not going to be the same guarantee as you would if you're leveraging a business that is producing income or real estate that is producing income.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, it's there. There's a lot of information available, and I just don't want people to get into information overload where there are so many divergent ideas that they do nothing, because he who hesitates is lost. And that's what my dad would tell me a long time ago. And in the military, I learned you make a decision even if it's wrong, because you can correct a decision.
Mm.
You can make modifications, adjustments as you move forward. But if you're just sitting in one spot, you could die. Okay? Overthinking the process. So if you're thinking about investing, and I tell my kids, Leland, you've heard me talk about, what does your gut say?
Mhm.
Deep down inside, there's this little voice that raises a little flag, a little white flag of surrender, or a little red flag or green flag, or what have you, that gives you some idea that things are going to be okay. But you gotta start to move, because if you're just putting your money in a bank account, you're maybe getting 0.015 or 0.025% of interest on your money. Let me help you. That's about for $100, you're getting 2 cents.
If that,
Do the math. Point 0.15%.
Is that for a day or for a year?
It's a year. It's annualized.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, sure, that's liquid and that's fine and it's safeguarded.
Hmm.
But if you've got 10, 15, 20, 30 plus $1,000 in the bank and it's been sitting there for years, my question to you is how much interest did you draw on your money in that bank last year? Sure, you can do money markets, you can do certificates of deposit, you can do all of those other things, but I'm just talking about a normal. And even for those, take a look at your interest rate and tell me how much you really drew last year. Okay. So then
Yeah.
we
So,
say, mhm.
no, go ahead, Hank. And
Then I
so
was going
then
to
you
say,
would say,
then if you want that to grow, then put it in something that you can control. If you've got certain fears, okay,
yeah,
and because we know that there's risk at everything that we do. There's risk for me getting up from this table. There's risk. There's also risk for me sitting here. Okay, so we just say, hey, there's going to be risk, but we say, hey, give us a call and let's talk about your particular situation and see if we can help you to make a decision on your future in the future of your family. Because somewhere along the line, we're going to start talking about once you start to accumulate all this wealth, what should you do with it to protect your assets, your investments, your hard work, your goodwill. And we're going to be talking about wills and trust one of these days, or
yep,
trust
can't
anyway.
wait.
Yes, indeed. So we got
Yep,
two things, Leland, on the forefront. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about protecting your assets.
yep. First word in assets. You got to protect that as well.
you,
So, with
you,
that
you,
being said, I bid you guys adieu. We'll see you
I
guys
do.
on the
Yeah.
next.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.